Hey guys, welcome to the Real Deal blog, video blog that is, of course. This week I want to talk to you about habits. So it's a pretty common saying that human beings are creatures of habit, and in my opinion that is a very, very true statement. Pretty much everyone has some form of habit. Your morning routine when you wake up, the people that you talk to and the way that you interact with them, the way you go about doing certain tasks throughout your day. Everyone has some kind of thing that they do habitually or a habitual way of doing something. So if you have a pulse, chances are you've probably got some habits, and both good and bad in your life. Of course, sometimes bad habits can become something else. They can become something more than just a habit. People who find themselves in the habit of using substances, especially using substances to feel good or to deal with things, are often headed for trouble. Sometimes it's just that. It's a habit, like someone who drinks a lot because they're going through a rough time and they snap out of it, but they're just in the habit of drinking. And other times it's something more. These habits become more and more serious until they develop into a full-blown addiction. So that's an example of how habits can really turn into something very serious. And most people who struggle with addiction find that things started out as a habit for them. Well, it started out as experimentation, just having fun, and it turned into a habit, and then it just totally got out of control. But we're not here to talk about that, so let's fast forward a bit. Let's say that you're one of those people, that your habit has turned into an addiction, but you saw the light and you decided to go to treatment or go to meetings, and you're sober now, which is great. Congratulations. And you might be free from the addiction, but that definitely doesn't mean that you're free from habits. Habits will be with you your entire life. So the habits you first pick up when you get sober can really, really make or break your recovery. Certain habits make you a lot more likely to be successful. For example, regularly attending meetings, being part of a recovery community, socializing with healthy people who care about you, taking good care of yourself, exercising, eating healthy foods, getting enough sleep, showing up to work on time, things like that. These are all habits that pretty much any successful person in recovery is going to have. And I think it's really important to do these things. And at first, doing them will seem weird or alien because you are probably not in the habit of doing healthy things when you're in active addiction. But if you put that effort in and you get over the hump, soon these things will become habit. And it's hard to do at first, and it gets easier and easier. And eventually it takes no mental effort at all to do them. Your recovery will basically be on autopilot. On the other hand, bad habits can be absolute killers, and it's really, really easy to develop bad habits or cross addictions early on. Early sobriety can be a really, really fragile time for people when they're just recovering from this really serious illness, and they're just in a state where things can go wrong really easily. For example, exercise is great, but some people get addicted. Some people are just compulsively working out to hit that reward center in their brain, and it becomes a bad habit. And of course it's good in moderation, but it can really become dangerous if you're doing it compulsively, and it can mimic drug addiction, for example. And smoking, that's a nasty habit. It might shorten your lifespan or give you cancer and cause other negative effects, but it tends to be accepted in the recovery community, and it's definitely a habit for a lot of people. That acceptance, it might not be a good thing, but that's probably a topic for another time. But overall, these are bad habits, but they may not ruin your recovery. A lot of people manage to get by with stuff like this going on, but there are habits that can really, really tank recovery. Habits like hanging out with old using friends and not going to meetings, not taking care of yourself. These are habits that can and will totally kill your recovery. It's pretty easy to look at someone and their habits and see if they're headed for a relapse or not. So the thing about habits is that good habits, tend to replace bad habits, and vice versa. If you've got some kind of habit, it can be replaced with a different habit, or you can just take it to its conclusion. So if you're gonna have habits in your life, and if you're human, I guarantee you will have habits, choose wisely, make them good ones.